Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures, where I'll be talking and reviewing action figures from different manufacturers. Today we're going to go back to some G.I. Joe classified series. So this is going to be a 2-in-1 review because we'll be reviewing Snake Eyes and Timber. So we have this version and we're going to be having the other version who came out, who's going to be this version. Now let's talk about these ones. Let's start by the first one. So this is number 30 in the G.I. Joe Classified series line. Of course, this is the standard box where you have the drawings when they still wanted to go with a certain communication with these futuristic weapons and other designs that they wanted to do. It was pretty nice to see that they were talking about vehicles, but I guess we're not going to get many of these due to the fact that some may be a bit big to produce in 6-scale figures. So of course we have this figure, and this one came out in 2021. The suggested retail price for this one was $41.99 and €59.99 for Europe. Now of course you could purchase, this is a general release if I'm not mistaken, and you could purchase from any shop in the US, or if you're living in Europe, you did not have much choice to go and buy it from Hasbro Pulse Europe. Now for regarding the second figure, who is number 52 in the G.I. Joe Classified series. So this is a remake of this figure. It's not totally the same, but we'll be going better into it when we're going to be reviewing what comes in the box. Now, of course, this is these horrible boxes that I really don't like. You have this part of the box who's pretty interesting because it shows you everything that you should be getting in the box. So that's something who's not too bad either. But that's going to be it for the talking about the boxes. Now let's dive into what do we get in the box, the history of the figure, do I believe it's a collectible value, and what are my thoughts about this figure. Now, of course, we're going to start by the history of the figure. So this is my mint in box figure from 1985. This is, of course, Snake Eyes and Timber. As you can see, this was kind of more wanting to honor the fact that Snake Eyes was one of the most popular characters in the 82-83 line, so they decided to make him a bit better and give him some extra accessories and a bit more paint job. Of course, there's a few differences because with the face mask, you would have more this kind of commando mask, or you would have this kind of visor mask on it. And over here, we're going to turn it over. These cards are always fantastic. So as you can see, this is a 1985 version, due to the fact that the file card is, I would say, tan flesh color a bit, because the one who came out in 1986 was gray. Then they decided to change it, so that's a little bit of history about G.I. Joe. As you can see, they didn't cost much money at the time. Of course, this is not one of the ones I purchased. I purchased this one a bit later on because when I wanted to focus on the mint in box figures, because I had way too much stuff. So that's why I decided to go with that. So that's the history of this figure. Let's have a look at what we get in the box and let's talk about it. Now let's talk about what we get in the box. Of course, this is my favorite box, the blister box, where we get to see everything we have in it. So of course it's not as the same as when we're talking about the other horrible boxes that Hasbro did. But anyway, let's go into what do we get in this box. Of course, we get Snake Eyes, we get Timber. Timber comes with an extra head sculpt, who's pretty nice as an idea. Then, as this is a deluxe box, we get plenty of pistols, silencer, we get the Uzi, we get this weird weapon, but I'm not going to complain about it because it doesn't look like a Nerf gun. And we get this submachine gun, who is well known if you've been playing some Call of Duty, as it's called the UMP-45. Now let's have a closer look at the figure itself. As you can see, Snake Eyes is pretty well detailed. Now, compared to the 1985 version, he does not come with his visor. As you can see, he does come with the head of the 1982 version or 83 version. Now, I do like the way the figure looks. I'm not a fan of this new G.I. Joe logo. who's on the grenade, but anyway, that's my point of view. It's maybe a bit nitpicky, but I do like the whole presentation of the figure, and the figure really looks pretty neat, and also has a lot of accessories that you can slide in. The fact that he has a knife, that he has a secondary weapon, a pistol, the silencer. I mean, this really makes him look like a commando or a tier 1 operator, because this is what you want, with the chest harness, with the extra ammo clips for the Uzi. So really something very interesting. Now, something of very interesting, if you're a fan of G.I. Joe, you will know that this figure has a high inspiration from the 2011, if I'm not mistaken, figure that came out. It's a figure that was how do you call it, for the 50th anniversary, in the line of the 50th anniversary. Don't have the figure on the hand here, but I will be doing a review of all those 50th anniversary figures, because the design of some were pretty interesting. But let's be honest, that design didn't came from Hasbro. That design came from these guys, Sideshow. As you can see over here, the chest harness is exactly the same over here, and they really did the same figure. Like I said, I will be reviewing it, so I will be not going into too much detail. This one I'm going to review, and the other one. As you can see, this is really the highly inspirational. As I said, you have over here this plate. Instead of having this face mask, you have this kind of weird visor. Now that we got into this, let's have a closer look at some of the weapons. As you can see over here, we have, the knife, 2 different colors, who's appreciable. We have the silencer, we have the pistol. So this is a simple, clips in like this, and as you can see, it is pretty simple, pretty efficient in the way it is done. Then afterwards, I didn't thought about, of course, Timber's head. As you can see, pretty nice details. Some battle damage that he suffered against the polar bear when he tries to stay Snake Eyes. That's a cartoon version of it. Of course, we have the great Timber, who is really neat. I mean, Hasbro did a really fantastic job in the way that the dog is articulated. The wolf. But most of the figures that they have done in 6-inch animals are pretty neat. Now, of course, if you look, the articulations are very similar to the Timber that Sideshow did. So again, I guess that Hasbro did use a lot of designs who were done by Sideshow, so we'll be looking at that more in detail when I'll be reviewing that figure also. So as you can see, pretty neat. Of course, the weapons are the standard weapons that you will be getting. What I highly appreciate, even if I'm not a fan of this weapon, because I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's not a Nerf gun, and the fact that it has a removable charger, that it looks like some kind of normal weapon and not, like I said, a Nerf gun that they were doing with most of the G.I. Joe figures at the time. So this could be given to a Cobra Trooper. It seems more a weapon that they will be carrying. Of course, we have the trademark Uzi that comes with our Snake Eyes. And of course, we have the UMP-45. If you've been playing Modern Warfare, you will know that this weapon is pretty neat and has a pretty good capacity of fire in the game. It also comes with a removable charger. And as I said, this is so great to get some weapons in this kind of way and not these Nerf guns. So let's push this guy aside for a bit and let's dive into the other figure. Now, I'm going to be turning over this box over here because I wanted to open this figure, but at the end of the day, he's roughly exactly the same as the Snake Eyes over here, and does take a lot of accessories from the Snake Eyes 00. I'll be reviewing that guy also, and most of his gear is should be taken from different figures like Halle Viper. And we also have Stalker, who has some accessories who's been taken. And then afterwards, we mostly have everything that comes with the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes 00. So, of course, I took out my Snake Eyes 00. I'll be reviewing this figure. As you can see, This one would be more accurate to the figure of 1985 due to the fact that it comes with the visor. Of course, the colors are a bit different, but let's be honest, this is exactly the same figure. Of course, you can see over here, he does have these little pieces of extra. It's like some little armbands with a little pouch on it, but personally I didn't really like it, so that's why I removed it. Then of course we get the sword. So this sword was already used, of course, with this Snake Eyes. It was also used with the desert version Snake Eyes. So as you can see, it's a lot of reuse. Then we have the shaman, who's this kind of cloth that he wears around. This is the one who's taken from our friend Stalker. Then of course we get the weapons. This is the grappling gun from the Halley Viper. You get this rifle, who's a pretty neat rifle, who's also the one from the Halley Viper. Then we get the trademark rifle from the Halley Viper, also over here. We get also the extra hands with the Trojan stars and the Kung Fu version of the hand, or the salute hand if you want to do it. So these are also pieces that came with the 00, and also other parts that came with the 00 are the knife, the pistol, and the silencer. So this is why I didn't want to go into the detail. Afterwards, if you really think about it, Timber is exactly the same, except he is more whitish. But from what I remember in the cartoon or the comic book, I would say that this one is a more interesting version. And due to the fact that I have already a lot of figures, I was not really interested in reopening one. I did purchase one, but at the end of the day, I'm going to put it up for sale because I'm not interested in opening this one. I'm going to keep my mint in box one for myself, for my private collection, but I'm not going to go into any much details. Now that we have talked about the different figures, what do I think about these figures? So let's try to have everybody on the screen over here. It's going to be a bit hard. Okay, so we're going to keep it like this. So what do I think are the value of these items? Which one do I think is a collectible item? Which one is less collectible? So it's going to be very simple. This one is sold out. You can still get it from different retailers. I guess Amazon may still have some, and some other retailers do have some. So this one is kind of easy to get, but personally I would go for this one. This one has a better packaging. There's more interesting bits and pieces in this. So this one is definitely a more valuable item due to the fact that even if you find it on the secondary market, it's already higher than the $41.99. Then we have this guy over here. Now this one didn't sell very well. Of course, he came out in 2023, so that's only 2 years afterwards. This one was still available. It was a kind of double use if you want, even if the figures are a bit different if you want to have a look at it. But this set here really didn't sell well. It was on Hasbro Pulse Europe in clearance. So instead of being the €59.99, I think this one went in clearance, if I'm not mistaken, for 17 euros. So I mean, if Hasbro is clearing them out in Europe, that means those really did not sell very well. So that's going to be it for it. More this one if you have the valuable, if you want something that you know that will go up in price and the time. This one is more interesting. This one is definitely the less interesting version. Of course, like I said, especially that if you have the 00 version or the other version that came out where he's all painted in black, I mean, this version was done and redone, so this is something that makes it a bit less interesting. This one had a lot more new equipment, new design, so it makes this one a lot better in the collectible value. Now, what are my final thoughts about these figures? Well, as I said, the deluxe version of Snake Eyes is always something that comes with a ton of equipment, so that makes this figure really interesting and something that you really want to have, especially if you're a G.I. Joe fan. I mean, having Snake Eyes, it is a bit the primordial figure that you want to have. It is the one who is the most popular in the G.I. Joe line, So of course it is great to be able to get these guys. So of course that's what I would say, go for it, and this is the one that I'm going to be thinking that is going to be getting the better note. So I'm going to give this figure a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, if you wanted to be nitpicky, the only things you could reproach to the figure is that this figure does not come with a stand, one of those black stands that the retro line comes with, and of course it doesn't have either an interchangeable head, who would have been a nice feature to have as an extra accessory, because it's not like we didn't have the interchangeable head. We had this one. You could just pop in the extra head and should exchange it and do it in this kind of way, should exchange them. That would have been something who could have been pretty interesting. Now let's put the pouches back onto our snake eyes over here. Like I said, I think it looks pretty ridiculous, but as you can see. So like I said, this one I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Now regarding this one, well, this one is going to get, of course, a lot lower note due to the fact that there's a lot of reused weapons. There's only one weapon that has been given with this figure that I really find interesting, who is, of course, the Uzi is interesting. Let's not be fair about it, but this one here is a lot more interesting version to put on the figure. So that means I'm going to be giving this one, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Now, again, does have the same problems as the other figure. As you can see, this fits kind of not so great on it because I don't think it was really adapted for it. So yeah, I would give this an 8.5. It does have the same issues about it due to the fact that you're getting the weapons. The only positive point that it has a bit towards this one is that you get the extra gloves, the glove hand, so that would be something better. But the fact of the reuse of these weapons, I don't find these weapons have nothing to do with a snake eyes. This, like I said, Chut feels bulky and doesn't fit that well on him. So of course I don't think this is the most interesting part of the figure. So that's going to be it for the review of my Snake Eyes and Timber set. If you like the review, please leave a like, share, comment in the section. If you have any suggestions, please leave them also in the comment section. Please subscribe to the channel, that helps out a lot. If you want to go and see, I did some pictures outside. You can go and check in the links. You will have a link to my Instagram page and my Facebook page, where I do also talk about some of the news and the upcoming figures. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!